Hey guys, so today I'm going to be previewing the 106th Grey Cup for 2018, obviously. So, obviously, it's going to be Calgary versus Ottawa. So, obviously, as you guys know, my cats are out, which one guy made it really clear to me on YouTube. I told you the Cats would lose. I never said the Cats would. I never said the Cats would win. I never said Ottawa would lose. Like, what's your point? Like, I just said don't count them out, and even the announcers were like, don't count them out just yet. But at that point, I was depressed, and I was like, well, they're not gonna come back. Like, I know for a fact they're not gonna come back. So I don't know why. They're all like, yeah, don't count them out just yet. I was like, I'm counting them out like right now. But I'm a negative Nelly, so like of course I'm gonna be like that. And by the way, guys, so I did do my reaction video to Mr. Nightmare's video, but the thing is, my camera died, or like it was gonna die on me, so I stopped the video, but then I kept it going, so then it was like so weird, and then I'm not really sure how to edit it properly. Like I have no clue how to like edit it and stuff. Like I'm still new to that program and like doing reaction videos and stuff, so I didn't upload it because like I couldn't really get it fixed. So I just figured out I wouldn't upload it, and then I'll let you guys know in the next video, which is this one. But if you guys still want me to upload it, then I can. But it's not gonna be like in the middle of story 3. It's not gonna show the screen anymore. It's just gonna show me reacting to it, but you're not gonna see the screen. It is only for like the final few minutes of the video, so it shouldn't be that bad. But like, yeah, like if you guys want to see that still, then let me know in the comments. If anybody really cares about my reaction, but the next video I'll definitely do it, and I'll make sure that my camera's full, just like it is right now. Anyway, so this game is going to be Calgary versus Ottawa. It's going to be played Sunday, November 25th, 2018, obviously, at 6 o'clock p.m. It is going to be played in Edmonton. I have a lot for you to I have a lot to say. Like I have a lot of like stuff here, information or just like stats that will probably play a factor in Sunday's game. So I'll just start with this first. So the records, of course, that I start with. Ottawa's is 12-7 including the playoffs, 11-7 not including. Calgary is 14-5 including the playoffs, and then obviously 13-5 not. Both teams are going to be away, and no team is really at home. Like it's not really a home game for anybody. So basically, Calgary's away record is 6-3 because like it still is an away game, so like you can still classify it as that. So Calgary's away record is 6-3, while Ottawa's is 5-4. So Calgary has the edge there. Calgary went 5-5 in their division, while Ottawa went 6-2 in theirs. I know they're not in the same division, but like just a heads up, just how they did in their own division. So points scored and points allowed, of course, including the playoffs. So points scored for Calgary 522, and then points allowed 363. Now including the playoffs, 544 points scored and then 377 points allowed. For Ottawa before the game on Sunday, they were 464 points scored, 420 points allowed. After the game, 510 points scored and then 447 points allowed. Moving into the regular season like matchups, so they played in the beginning of the season, both games. There was only 2 games, where the game was in Calgary, week 3, Ottawa at Calgary, where Calgary did win 24-14. And then in week 5, where Calgary played in Ottawa, and then they won 27-3. So Calgary actually won by a combined score of 51-17. So the combined 2 games, 51-17. So Calgary, of course, went 2-0 against Ottawa this year. The last games played for both teams was obviously Calgary and Ottawa, both November 18th. For Ottawa against Hamilton, where they won 46-27, and then for Calgary, November 18th against Winnipeg, where they won 22-14. Oh yeah, so I didn't even say the scores. So Ottawa did beat Hamilton for 46-27. Trevor Harris had quite a game. I think he threw almost 90% passing. He had 6 touchdown passes, which is amazing. Like, even I have to admit that's amazing. Like, I hated him during it. I was like, oh, I hate you so much. But, I mean, he's good, so, like, what am I gonna do about it? So, yeah. Coming into this game, Calgary has won their last 2 games. So, including their regular season finale, 26-9 in BC. And then last week's playoff game in Calgary, 22-14 against Winnipeg. And then coming into this game, Ottawa has won their last 4 games, 3 regular season, 2 of which was against Hamilton. Then the last one they just played was the playoff game, and that was also against Hamilton. So Ottawa officially swept Hamilton 4-0 this year, including the playoffs. And just a quick little weather, kind of like what the predicted weather in Edmonton is on Sunday evening, or Sunday. It's going to be -4 degrees Celsius, which is going to be like -7 with the wind chill. If any of you American viewers are watching, I'll get what that is to Fahrenheit. So it's going to be like 24.8 degrees Fahrenheit in Edmonton that day, with it feeling like 19.4, so it's not going to be that warm at all. It's going to be pretty chilly. And that night it's going to be like -10, so it's going to be like 6 to 9, right? And it's also supposed to snow, I think, Friday night, but the game's on Sunday. But it will be pretty cold on Sunday. Yeah, -4 wind chill. Yeah, or no, it's gonna feel like -8. So it's gonna be pretty chilly. So now getting into everything. So Grey Cup game and breakers. Who to watch on Sunday? There's obviously a lot of people to watch on Sunday. So okay, so the biggest stage of the season is about to roll out in Edmonton this week as the Stamps and REDBLACKS meet in the 106th Grey Cup presented by Shaw. Last year brought no shortage of Grey Cup heroics, from Devere Posey trudging 100 yards through the snow to Matt Black hauling in the game-winning interception, capping off an upset for the ages. Sunday will mark the new birth of heroes and legacies. I feel like this is too high. I feel like you can like barely see me. That's better. So many will see the big lights for the first time, like REDBLACKS receiver RJ Harris or Stampeders defensive back Trey Robertson, Calgary receiver Chris Matthews. Meanwhile, will try to replicate his success from the Super Bowl a few years ago. Then there are familiar faces. Bill Levi Mitchell has redemption on his mind after back-to-back Grey Cup losses, while his counterpart Trevor Harris makes the first start of his career in a professional championship. Who are the players you can't miss on Sunday? CFL.ca breaks it down. So for Ottawa, I think it's just going to start with all Ottawa players. So number 1 is obviously Trevor Harris, number 7 quarterback. After topping CFL.ca's original top 30 playoff list, Trevor Harris backed up the hype with a record-setting 6 touchdown performance in the Eastern Final. A Grey Cup is the only thing that'll truly silence his detractors, and defeating the league-leading Stampeders is no small task, but Harris has been the best quarterback in the league the last 2 months, throwing 17 touchdown passes and just 2 interceptions in his last 7 starts. He's ready for the big stage. Number 2 is William Powell, number 29, the running back. With a dominant air attack that includes the league's top trio of pass catchers, it's easy to see how William Powell's name gets lost in all the excitement of the REDBLACKS offense. He's been critical to their success, though, balancing their attack with the second most rushing yards in 2018, just behind Bombers running back Andrew Harris. One of the CFL's best pure runners, Powell will need to be involved against the league's top run defense, as Ottawa can't afford to be one-dimensional. Number 3, number 85, I think he's the receiver, Deontay Spencer. It was a 100-yard touchdown by Argos receiver Devere Posey that made last year's Grey Cup upset possible. The REDBLACKS are hoping for something similar against these very same Stampeders, and Deontay Spencer is the man for the job. Coming off a 2-touchdown performance in the Eastern Final, Spencer is one of the most electrifying players in the CFL. Offensive coordinator Jamie Elizondo uses him in a number of creative ways, making him a threat to score anytime he touches the ball. Number 4 is Brad Sinopoli, also a receiver, number 88. After a quiet Eastern Final, you can assume Brad Sinopoli will see plenty of targets in Sunday's championship game. Sinopoli had 4 catches in each of his 2 games against Calgary this season, and has fared well against the Stamps throughout his career. The 30-year-old set a new standard for national receivers this season, breaking Ben Cahoon's single season record with 116 receptions in just 17 games. Number 5 is Greg Ellingson, number 82, also a receiver. With 4,866 yards and 30 touchdowns over the last 4 seasons, no receiver has been more productive than Greg Ellingson. The 29-year-old wasn't always the top option on his own offense this season, but remains one of the biggest receiving threats in the 3-down game. Ellingson has 5 games of 100-plus yards this season and has heated up as of late, totaling 215 yards and 3 touchdowns over his last 2 outings. The off X factor, RJ Harris, number 84 receiver. The big 3 get all the attention in Ottawa, but RJ Harris has emerged as a reliable 4th option, finishing the season with 697 yards and a pair of touchdowns in 16 games. Trevor Harris likes to spread the ball around and won't hesitate to get his namesake involved, especially if the Stampeders are able to neutralize any of Sinopoli, Ellingson, or Spencer. RJ Harris has a chance to make a name of himself on the biggest of stages. Now the definite, or the DEF X factor, is Rico Murray, number 3, DB, defensive back. A year after rejuvenating his career against the Argos, Rico Murray had a big season under defensive coordinator Northorpe in Ottawa. The Red Blacks defensive back tied for a league high 5 interceptions, also chipping in with 55 defensive tackles and a forced fumble along the way. Murray plays physical and flies to the football, making him a key factor on an Ottawa defense that needs to be aggressive and force Bo Levi Mitchell to make a game-altering mistake. For the Stampeders now, Bo Levi Mitchell's number 1, number 19. He's the quarterback. Bo Levi Mitchell is the CFL's all-time wins percentage leader among starting quarterbacks. Yet, if the Stamps lose on Sunday, he'll be remembered for something else. The Katy, Texas native is trying to avoid becoming the starter since Sam Etcheverry from 1954 to 1956 to lose a Grey Cup in 3 consecutive seasons. Mitchell has had another great season in red and white, putting him in position to win a second most outstanding player award, but nothing matters more than the result on Sunday, which is very true. Like, it doesn't matter the regular season anymore. Like, once you get to this game, nothing else matters. The Western final doesn't matter, only that game matters, and that's basically it. Like, even in NHL, you can go 82-0, including the playoffs, which is like what? Plus 16, 82 plus 16 is what? No, 82 plus 12. Oh, never mind. I was thinking, whatever. But basically, going 82-0 means nothing in an NHL season or NBA season if you don't win the finals. So, I mean, and number 2, Eric Rogers, number 15, receiver. The Stamps have had to manage Eric Rogers playing time this season as he deals with surgically repaired knee. When he's on the field, he's been productive though, and postseason, Rogers was on point once again in Sunday's Western Final with his 3 touchdowns against the Bombers. Rogers has 8 majors in 5 career playoff games, including the 102nd Grey Cup, averaging 83 yards per contest. Head coach Dave Dickinson hopes he'll be available for Sunday's contest. Number 3 is Mika Johnson, DL, I don't know what that is. Number 4, it's no stretch to say Mika Johnson has been the most dominant defensive player in the CFL this season, racking up a career-high 14 sacks while leading the league's stingiest run defense. He's especially picked it up as of late, recording a sack in 7 straight games and 9 of his last 10 contests. After a 3-sack performance against the Red Blacks earlier in the season, offensive coordinator Jamie Elizondo needs to find ways to avoid Calgary's most disruptive defensive player. Number 4 is Alex Singleton, number 49, linebacker. With back-to-back seasons of 123 tackles, Alex Singleton has become the most sure-handed tackler in the CFL. The Stamps' top linebacker is capable of making big plays, but his role as a run stuffer alongside Jameer Thurman will make things difficult for Ottawa to try and establish the ground game. Singleton already has 13 defensive tackles to his name in 2 Grey Cup appearances and will have a chance to add plenty more on Sunday. Number 5 is Chris Matthews, number 81. He's a receiver. With an injury-plagued receiving corps, Chris Matthews has been okay, sorry. So, I saw my sister came down. So, with an injury-plagued receiving corps, Chris Matthews has been a bit of a stabilizer since joining the Stampeders on short notice last month. The former NFL Seattle Seahawk and his 6'5", 228-pound frame poses a unique threat to opposing defenses, having the capability to win any one-on-one battle with a defender. The Stamps already boast the most vertical offense in the CFL, meaning both Matthews and Rogers will be a factor in Sunday's game. The off X factor is going to be Terry Williams, number 38, RB/RET. The injury to Ramar Morris last week will almost certainly press Terry Williams into action as a special teams returner and great and change of pace back. Williams was one of the CFL's most productive punt returners this season, scoring a league high 3 times and averaging 13.1 yards per return, good for 3rd place. He's also a threat on offense, bringing speed to the backfield to complement regular starter Don Jackson. Williams is the ultimate secret weapon. The DEF X Factor, Trey Robertson, number 31, DB. Though Jordan Williams-Lambert wound up getting the nod, many believe Trey Robertson was the most impressive rookie in the West Division this season. Robertson locked down Calgary's boundary corner spot, drawing tough matchups against the league's top receivers all season. He had 54 tackles and 3 interceptions in 16 games, also adding 2 forced fumbles, while helping the Stampeders maintain the number 1 scoring defense in the CFL. So that's that. So now, this is like breaking news in the CFL. This is something that will impact the game on Sunday. So CFL suspends Red Blacks DB Jonathan, the defensive back Jonathan Rose, for a Grey Cup game. So Ottawa's not going to have him. He's not going to be able to play in a Grey Cup that he probably should have played in, because I don't know if you saw the game, but like, we'll see. what this says. The Canadian Football League announced Tuesday that it has suspended defensive back Jonathan Rose for the Grey Cup game on Sunday. Rose was assessed a penalty and ejected from Sunday's Eastern Final versus Hamilton after being involved in a post-play sideline altercation. The CFL released the following statement regarding Rose and his suspension. So it's in quotes. "We are extremely reluctant to take an action that could prevent an athlete from joining his teammates for what may be the most important game of his life. But there is another principle at stake, one which has very significant implications for our league and sport in general. If we fail to send a strong signal when there is physical abuse of an official, whatever the circumstances, we risk sending the wrong message to not only the athletes in our league, but young and aspiring athletes, coaches, and parents throughout sport. Officials are an important part of athletic competition, responsible for its integrity. While their contributions too often go unsung, we cannot allow them to be disrespected or worse, abused. For these reasons, the Canadian Football League has notified Jonathan Rose of the Ottawa REDBLACKS that he is being assessed a one-game suspension for pushing an official during last Sunday's Eastern Final in Ottawa." So the REDBLACKS will take on the Calgary Stampeders in the 106th Grey Cup presented by Shaw on Sunday at the Brickfield at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton at 6 p.m. So basically, as I just said, he pushed an official, and then he also got like a big penalty for unnecessary roughness, and then he got ejected for like shoving an official. It was basically for no reason. He like ran into the official, and I was like, what the hell? So I do agree that he should get suspended. You're not allowed to touch an official. Whoever's watching this video and whoever thinks that was wrong or correct, you should comment down below. Like, what do you think of him being suspended? Like, what do you think of him doing that? So there's that. Now moving into the numbers don't lie. 3 stats that will define the Grey Cup. So the stage has been set for the 106th Grey Cup presented by Shaw as the Calgary Stampeders and Ottawa REDBLACKS match up for the second time in the championship game in 3 years. There are plenty of storylines entering Sunday's game, from Trevor Harris's first Grey Cup start to the Stampeders' attempt at redemption following back-to-back years of heartbreak. How do we break down Sunday's matchup? It's nearly been 4.5 months since the last meeting between these cross-division rivals, with the Stampeders sweeping the home in week 3 and 5. Much has changed since then, however. For one, Harris has played his best football as of late, coming off a playoff record 6 touchdowns in a blowout of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. On the other side, the Stamps have struggled with injuries at receiver, but are back in the Grey Cup on the shoulders of a dominant defense and a 3-touchdown game from Eric Rogers. The Stampeders open as a slight favorite going into the Grey Cup, but what can swing the pendulum? CFL.ca breaks down some of the key storylines, some obvious, some less obvious, heading into the championship game. 1. Can Trevor Harris finally stop the Stamps? The headline, "Superman, meet your kryptonite." The number, 4.5, which is Trevor Harris's yards per attempt in 2 games versus Stamps in 2018. So there was one team Trevor Harris just couldn't seem to figure out this season. The Calgary Stampeders had Harris's numbers, sweeping the season series while holding the REDBLACKS to his 423 net yards in the span of 2 losses. Harris was chased from both games, struggling to an average of 4.5 yards per attempt, while completing just 52%. 52.9% of his throws. He failed to throw a touchdown pass and threw 3 interceptions. Plenty of time has passed, and Harris has become the league's best statistical quarterback over the final third of the season. He hasn't thrown an interception since October 13th, entering Sunday's championship with 94 consecutive passes without turning the ball over. Over his last 7 starts, Harris has thrown 17 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions, averaging 9.9 yards per attempt and completing 78.6% of his passes, the kind of numbers that usually belong to a most outstanding player and Grey Cup champion quarterback. The height of it all came on Sunday when Harris set up CFL playoff record with 6 touchdown passes in a win over the Ticats. In that game, Harris also completed 29 of his 32 passing attempts for 367 yards, averaging a season-high 11.5 yards per attempt. Against a defense allowing a league-low 7.2 points, leading the CFL in takeaways, 49, and sacks, 45, the REDBLACKS have their work cut out. Can Harris finally solve the league's most dominant defense? 2. The pressure is on. The headline, an uncomfortable situation. The number, 10-3. Calgary's edge in turnovers versus Ottawa in the regular season. One thing the Stampeders can't do on Sunday is allow Trevor Harris to get comfortable. We know Harris has the hot hand, and a big part of his success has been the REDBLACKS' ability to keep him protected, eliminating turnovers and providing plenty of big play opportunities. The REDBLACKS have been sacked 43 times this season, the second most in the league, better than only Montreal, but Harris has been sacked twice over his last 3 starts. When he's not pressured, Harris's efficiency rate skyrockets, while the offense is better suited to move the chains and avoid turnovers. Turnovers will certainly be a big part of Sunday's outcome. Ottawa has turned the ball over just 9 times over the last 8 games, possessing a plus-minus-10 turnover ratio in that span. The Stamps, meanwhile, lead the CFL with 49 takeaways and a +13 ratio. It goes both ways, of course, so the REDBLACKS have no issue taking the ball away as of late, coming off a 3-interception game versus the Ticats. However, they have struggled to get to the quarterback, failing to record a sack in 4 of their last 5 games, a span over which they've tallied just 2 quarterback takedowns. Whether Ottawa can get some pressure on Stamps quarterback Levi Mitchell is up in the air, but in 2 regular season contests it just didn't happen. The Stampeders held a 7-1 edge in sacks and a 10-3 gap in takeaways when the 2 clubs met, led by a 3-sack game by Mika Johnson. That brings us back to the red-hot Trevor Harris. Of Calgary's league-leading 45 sacks this season, a staggering 39 have come from the defensive linemen. If the Stamps can generate pressure on Harris with their front four, the REDBLACKS will have a much different night offensively than they're used to. 3. Can the Stamps find their mojo? The headline, Let's Get Vertical, the number. 1.2, 30-yard completions per game for the Stamps the last 6 contests. The Calgary Stampeders had the most vertical offense in the league this year, topping off all clubs with 44 completions of 30-plus yards from scrimmage. That's the trademark of a Levi Mitchell offense, especially with Mitchell's arm strength and accuracy down the field, along with an impressive complement of receivers. As it turns out, injuries to the Stamps receiving corps have caught up this season. Devaris Daniels, Markin Michel, Kamar Jordan, and Reggie Beggleton have all dealt with serious injuries, or a series of injuries, and each one has had a clear negative effect on the offense. In the Stamps' first 9 games before the season-ending injury to Jordan, the offense averaged 2.9 completions of 30-plus yards per game. The number dropped to 2.8 with Jordan's injury, but it was Beggleton's injury that really changed the tune of the Stamps' offense. Once operating without Jordan, Beggleton, or Daniels, the Stampeders dropped to 1.2 completions of 30-plus yards per game in 6 contests. Even with the addition of Chris Matthews and the emergence of Markeith Ambles, the Stamps have totaled 7 plays of 30-plus yards in the last 6 games, including 0 in the Western Final versus the Bombers, but it hasn't been a lack of try, with Mitchell attacking deep on several of the team's opening plays. Having Eric Rogers healthy and fit to play would help. After scoring 3 touchdowns in the Western Final, Rogers has 8 in 5 career playoff games, including this 102nd Grey Cup, and is averaging 83 receiving yards per game over that span. Can the Stamps offense continue to build chemistry with the new receivers and begin to hit more downfield? Doing so would certainly give them an edge on Sunday, as Matthews and Rogers can create mismatches with the REDBLACKS defensive backs and start hitting home runs again. So it'll be quite a game, to be quite honest. Like, you never really know who's going to win. Like, I have no idea who to choose. Like, I feel like it'll be a great game. It'll be, like, a really close, I'm assuming. But you never know, right? So now moving on to head-to-head. Who has the edge in the Grey Cup? So the matchup for the 106th Grey Cup, presented by Shaw, seems pretty close. In reality, things were very one-sided between the Ottawa REDBLACKS and Calgary Stampeders in 2018, with the latter claiming a 2-game sweep by a combined score of 51-17. In those games, the Stampeders forced 10 turnovers and got to the quarterback 7 times, holding Trevor Harris to just 4.5 yards per attempt on 52.9% passing. That was 4.5 months ago, though, and things have changed. Harris has been the CFL's hottest quarterback as of late, while the Stampeders have had to get by despite injuries to several of their top receivers. With several new faces and emerging storylines, Sunday's matchup will be a somewhat unfamiliar one. With the matchup set in stone, who has the edge? CFL.ca breaks it down position by position. So quarterbacks. Stampeders quarterback Levi Mitchell will play in his 3rd consecutive Grey Cup and the 4th of his career after another stellar season. He has a good chance to win his 2nd career most outstanding player honor, but don't count out Trevor Harris. The REDBLACKS pivot has thrown 17 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions over his last 7 starts, including a record-breaking performance in the Eastern Final. So the advantage there is like a tie. It's push. Running backs. Despite ranking second in the CFL in rushing yards, William Powell can sometimes become a forgotten weapon in the Red Blacks' high-octane offense. He's an integral part of Ottawa's balanced attack and is one of the league's best pure runners. The Stamps have a different type of rushing attack, but it's effective nonetheless. They'll lean on talented 25-year-old Don Jackson and change of pace back Terry Williams following an injury to Ramar Morris. The advantage there goes to Ottawa. Receivers. It's a closer call than it may seem, but the Red Blacks deservedly got the nod thanks to their three-headed monster of Brad Sinopoli, Greg Ellingson, and Deontay Spencer. Of course, they've been the league's most productive receiving trio and have the numbers to back it up. On the Calgary side, even with all the injuries this season and the physical dominance of Eric Rogers and Chris Matthews, creates significant matchup concerns for opposing defenses. The advantage goes to Ottawa. The offensive line, with a seemingly bottomless well of Canadian talent, the Red Blacks O-line has been an underrated part of their success this season. Overcoming injuries and providing ratio flexibility, they kept Trevor Harris completely clean during a 6-touchdown performance on Sunday. The Stamps, on the other hand, tied a league low with 27 sacks allowed this season, thanks in part to a massive comeback season from starting tackle and free agent signing Derek Dennis. The advantage there goes to Calgary. Defensive line. The Red Blacks' pass rush has been missing lately, failing to record a sack in 3 of the team's last 5 games and totaling just 2 sacks over that span. They like to rotate guys, but have yet to find an ideal mix. The D-line is the strength of Calgary's defense, starting with Mika Johnson in the middle. Johnson had 14 sacks this season, including a 3-sack game against Ottawa. 39 of the Stamps' leading high 45 sacks came from defensive linemen. The advantage obviously goes to Calgary. For linebackers, Alex Singleton and Jameer Thurman are considered 2 of the surest-handed tacklers in the game, combining for 205 tackles in 2018, the highest combined total for any 2 teammates. The Red Blacks trio of Kyrie Saber, Kevin Brown, and Avery Williams has flown under the radar this season, with Chris Aki also available after being acquired before the trade deadline. Still, it's an easy decision in favor of the Stamps' league-leading defense. The advantage goes to Calgary. Defensive backs, the healthy Deontay Evans has made a world of difference in the Stamps secondary, a group that held Matt Nichols to 156 yards on 15 of 32 passing in the final. My voice gets dry once I start talking so much. Calgary's defensive line gets pressure, but the secondary has caused its fair share of coverage sacks too. The Red Blacks deploy a proven veteran group themselves, and have gelled nicely under new defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe. Sunday will mark Antoine Pruneau's 3rd Grey Cup. The advantage also goes to Calgary there. The return game, the CFL's leader with 2,704 combined yards this season. Deontay Spencer is the league's most dangerous return threat. Spencer once ran a 4.27 40 time at a pro day at McNeese and can change a game in a moment's notice. The Stamps are down Ramar Norris, who was injured in the Western Final, but have plenty of other capable returners, including speedy running back Terry Williams, but no one that can compare to Spencer. The Ottawa goes to Ottawa. Yeah, the advantage goes to Ottawa. The kicking game, after being automatic all season, Lewis Ward missed a field goal and 2 extra points in his first career playoff game. Versus the Ticats, it didn't affect the outcome, but did cast some doubt over the notion that Ward simply can't miss. Rene Paredes is one of the CFL's most accurate place kickers of all time, and he's been doing it for 8 seasons. It all comes down to who's more trustworthy when the game's on the line. The advantage is kind of tied or push. So, and then we're just going to do like a little preview here. So, Grey Cup bound. Stamps and Red Blacks to clash in Edmonton. For the 4th time in Canadian Football League history, Ottawa and Calgary will meet in the 106th Grey Cup. The club's previous Grey Cup appearances against each other were in 2016, 1968, and 1948. It will be the 18th appearance in the Grey Cup by an Ottawa club, where they are 10-7 with a .588 percentage. The last time, winning percentage. The last time the Red Blacks made the Grey Cup was the 104th Grey Cup in 2016 in Toronto, where they defeated Calgary 39-33. The Calgary Stampeders are making their 17th Grey Cup appearance, going 7-10, .412 in those games. This is their 3rd consecutive Grey Cup game. They last won in 2014 against the Hamilton Tiger-Cats, 20-16. I was watching that. That was so depressing. Ottawa and Calgary have met 3 times before in the Grey Cup. 2016, Ottawa won 39-33. 1968, Ottawa won 24-21, and 1948, where Calgary won 12-7. So Ottawa has the edge 2-1, and they can make it 3-1 this week. This season, Calgary swept the series versus Ottawa, winning 24-14 in Week 3 and 27-3 in Week 5. This will be Rick Campbell's third Grey Cup, and he's 1-1 as a head coach. And Trevor Harris's first start in the Grey Cup. This will be Dave Dickinson's third Grey Cup, and he's 0-2. As the head coach, this will be the first time Calgary have made the game 3 consecutive years. Dickinson becomes the first coach to be in the game 3 times in a row since Mark Trestman 2008 to 2010. This will be Boley Van Mitchell's 4th appearance as a starter, and he's 1-2. And this will be the 5th Grey Cup game Edmonton has hosted: 2010, 2002, 1997, and 1984. And this, of course, is 2018. So the 106th Grey Cup presented by Shaw will be played at the Brickfield Stadium at Commonwealth Stadium on November 25th at 6 p.m. And then the 5th CFL Championship game held in Edmonton. And then it's set to kick off at 6. And the 2018 Grey Cup Festival presented by Shaw will take place in the heart of downtown Edmonton from November 21st, so starting tomorrow until the 25th. Kicking off on the evening of Wednesday, November 21st, the 4-day festival will feature free programming for the entire family to enjoy in the week leading up to the 106th Grey Cup presented by Shaw. Fans can visit whatever for a full schedule of events listings. So basically, that's my whole preview as to who I think is going to win. It's really hard to say. Well, once again, Calgary beat Winnipeg 22-14, but Winnipeg was up 6-0 after the first quarter, and I was kind of thinking, ooh, maybe Winnipeg's going to go to the Grey Cup. I was wrong. And then 6-3 Ottawa was after the first quarter, and then they kind of like dominated from there. They went 46-27. They, again, Trevor Harris, who broke a CFL record, he got like 6 touchdowns, and that's going to be a factor in next week's game for sure. And about the weather, I don't know if that's going to really be a factor because they're obviously used to playing in snow and cold weather, so I don't think it'll affect them. I will be recording the final few minutes, and if it goes to overtime, I will record that as well, and I will post it on YouTube like I did last year. And I actually don't know who's going to win. I kind of want Calgary to win because I just saw Ottawa take out Hamilton, and I do not want to see that again. Like, I do not want to see them win after that, so... Plus, they already won in 2016, and last year Toronto won, so let's hope that maybe Calgary wins. I do feel bad for them because they haven't won the Grey Cup since 2014, and they've made it 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017, and then 2018. They've made it now to the Grey Cup game, and it's like they can't win, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe they'll be able to do it, maybe they won't, I don't know, but it's going to be really intense, and I do kind of see Calgary having the edge. The slight edge, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, guys, once again, I will record the final few minutes. Again, let me know if you want me to do that video. Let me know all your thoughts on this Grey Cup game. If the what's his name, Jonathan Rose, should be suspended or not. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Share this with your friends. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.